Hey, how's it going everybody? Taco from Taco Tuesday here, and today we're going over another solo base. So it's been a few weeks since I've made a base build or just a video in general, and I partially blame that on the fact that I just moved, so I really haven't had time in the past few weeks to make a video, and I apologize, but I am back. And if you do want to see more videos in the future and you want to keep me motivated, be sure to leave a like. But anyways guys, let's move on to some base stats. So today's base is obviously a solo base as stated before, and therefore it will be pretty cheap, costing you 13,200 stone, 3,200 wood, and 3,800 metal frags. And that's really not that bad for base cost, because when you think about it, that's really roughly just 13 stone nodes and maybe, I don't know, like 8 metal nodes, which is like probably less than 30 minutes of farming, so just take that into consideration when you're trying to make judgments upon the base. A few extra stats that you guys should probably know is that this base takes about 16 rockets to get to the loot, assuming that you raid the unlootable loot rooms and you actually care about loot. And this number is kind of calculated using an average because it varies depending on where you blow through the base, like I'll show you in a sec, because if you blow through the doors, actually it'll take over 20 rockets, but if you blow through the balcony, it'll take about 15. Alright, so if you're not the type of person who likes to have the roleplay balcony and you're just a competitive person who just loves a strong base, here's my suggestion. So the weakness in this base are these two doors right here. They can boost up, blow through the doors, and then they'll have to blow down the unlootable loot rooms, which will come around to being about 14 rockets. So my suggestion, take out the balcony and replace it with metal walls. This change is obviously optional, and it's kind of just up to preference and playstyle. And then finishing up base stats, this base is going to be BP friendly for the most part. I did include like shotgun turret and flame turret locations for optional, and obviously as you see on the base, it's got spikes on it. So most of the stuff that does take BPs is not needed. Therefore, I am safe and happy to say that this base requires no BPs whatsoever. And to top it off, the base is super easy to set up. The starter base costs 3,200 stone, which can be expanded into the base shown on screen. It has tons of storage as well as unlootable loot rooms. Okay, enough talk guys, let's show you guys the base. Alright, here we are with the base tour guys. So, today's base will be featured in a secluded area because seclusion or just having your base tucked away is a solo player's best friend. If you didn't notice, there were spikes on top of the roof. These are actually optional in order to keep this base BP friendly. All they really do is just prevent people from getting on top of your roof or just make it harder. Straight into the first airlock, as you guys can tell, there's a shotgun turret that will kill anybody who's camping your door. Yes, I know that the shotgun BP is a pretty difficult BP to get a hold of. I'm going to be featuring it anyways for those people who do have it because it's that helpful for solo players, especially since we don't have that many options for door camp prevention. Off here to the right is a small planter, and down here to the left is a small box which will be used as a dump box. So if you go out farming or you go out PvPing and you get some stuff and you just want to quickly dump it in here, you can do so. A few more doors in, we'll come to this one by one pod over here, and basically this is quite similar to the dump box except for it's exclusively for ores. So picture this, you're out farming and you have a bunch of sulfur, a bunch of metal, and a bunch of wood, and you just want to quickly smelt this so you can go out and farm more. Basically this room is pretty much for just that. You could just quickly run in, a few doors in, and you could dump all your loot in the boxes and you could smelt all your ores in the furnaces and go out and farm again. Another optional feature in this base is this flame turret off here into the corner. Basically, if you're online and somebody's raiding you and you hear that flame turret go off, you obviously know what layer they're in. So the flame turret acts as a good indicator to location of the enemy raiders. We'll talk more about that flame turret here in a second. Instead, I need to explain this one by one room first. So in this room, we pretty much just have a bunch of boxes, a sleeping bag, and a repair bench. On the grill of the repair bench though, we have ourselves a campfire which will be used to cook up your food. To the left of that is a box where you can store some metal and some basic resources to repair your tools, and then just a few extra boxes over here. So back to that flame turret, what you can do to actually utilize that indicator is to put a bag in here as well as a shotgun in one of the boxes. And once you hear that flame turret go off, you can just bust through your doors and then blast them. Even though the odds are pretty low, with this strategy you could possibly end a raid. Even if the raiders have 3 to 4 people, it will be pretty easy for you to do it because this base consists mainly of singular doorways, and that makes it hard for people to team against you, being that only one person can fit through the doorway. Alright, so moving along. Through this door is going to be the central part of the base, which as you guys can tell has a lot to it. So So we're going to take this bit by bit, starting by trying to fit through this doorway and going off here to the right. So behind this door are 3 more furnaces, just in case the 2 in the front weren't enough, because more furnaces, more smelting, more resources, you know, the better. And one final door in will be to the most protected spot of the base, which will have our cupboard. So here's the cupboard. As you can tell, it's being protected by a window frame with armored metal bars, which, you know, I know I'm going to get complaints about, but you can replace it with a doorway if you want to keep it BP friendly. So obviously you're going to want this cupboard to be code locked, that way the enemies can't access it, and also you're going to want to store your resources in here because it's the most protected spot in the base, and also because of decay. So back out into our main room, as you can tell there are a lot of unlootable loot rooms. If you don't know what these do, these are what really gives this base its strength. So basically what they do is, you know, you put a code lock on them and you can access them but the enemies can't. And sometimes they can't even break it. Like in this instance, they can't even break these boxes unless they shoot them. And if they do break it, all the loot is behind the low walls, so they can't even get to it in the first place. It's just one of those dirty tricks that makes your base that much harder to raid. And just as a general note, these 4 boxes on the first floor are the most protected of the unlootable loot rooms because they're protected by a honeycomb layer, so I suggest you put your most valuable items in here. Now, to get to your second floor, you're going to have to use this door jump right here, which is just an old trick that I used to use a lot, and it's nice for a solo player because you don't need a ladder. All you just need is a door and a box. Here you can pretty much just access those 2 boxes right there, and just to show you that these 4 boxes on the first floor are the strongest, I will just, you know, fly through and show you. Once again, those are the 4 strongest boxes in this base, so keep your most valuable items. Moving on to the second floor, one of the annoying things about the door jump actually is just closing the door behind you, but anyways, up here we have a ton of storage, which you can pretty much just use for whatever you want. So immediately on the second floor, we have 2 boxes over there and 2 boxes right here, as well as a small furnace which you can jump on top to access these 4 boxes and the 3 above my head. Once again, you can use the storage for pretty much just whatever you want, but I do recommend that you keep your unsecurable loot in these 3 boxes here, and your more important stuff in the unlootable loot rooms. Alright, so on to our last part of the base, which is going to be our personal room. So pretty much in this room we have anything that wasn't in the other parts of the base, or is just, you know, nice to have, such as a bed right here, which will be used for you or another person, a research bench here with a box underneath, and a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 workbench for crafting those important items. And then behind this double door over here we have 2 boxes which can be used for like personal items or just guns or just pretty much just anything you want. And moving along to the final feature of the base, which is just another optional feature, is the balcony, which, you know, provides an aesthetic and is also pretty nice if you're a role player. You could also use the balcony for roof camping or shooting people outside your base, which really isn't recommended because you're a solo player and it'll prompt people to raid you, but, you know, you can do so if you want to. But anyways guys, that's pretty much it for the base tour. If you are enjoying the base build so far, take 5 seconds out of your life and leave a like because it helps more than you really think. Anyways guys, let's move on with the base build. To start the base build off, you're going to want to find an area that's secluded, but at the same time, flat enough to support the foundations. So here's the foundation plan, and we're going to take this bit by bit, so I'll delete all the foundations on the outer edge. To start the foundations off, you're going to make a hexagonal shape using 6 triangle foundations, and also having one of the triangle foundations be sinking into the floor. And once you got that done, you're going to place a half wall right on that synced foundation, and then you're going to upgrade that to stone, as well as the corresponding triangle foundation, and then go ahead and upgrade the remaining ones to stone as well. Once all that's upgraded, you're going to place a door frame right here to the right of that synced triangle. So right here to the right, and then you're going to go ahead and place walls on the rest. This next step is crucial and I advise that you pay attention. So for the roofing, what you're going to do is you're going to place a triangle right above the doorway and you're going to upgrade that to wood. The reason why you're upgrading that to wood is because we're going to be breaking that later, so make sure that is wood and you can go ahead and upgrade the remaining triangles to stone. So next we're going to kind of have to set up a door, and you're not going to have a sheet metal door and a code lock right away at the start of a wipe. So instead of placing a sheet metal door and a code lock like I did, you're probably going to be placing a wood door and a normal lock. And you're going to be using furnaces that were placed in the synced foundation to cook up those metal frags. So on the opposite triangle of the doorway, you're going to place a cupboard right there. Obviously authorize yourself and go ahead and place a lock on it. So you have two ways of going about protecting this cupboard here. You can either go A, which is the way I did in the base tour, and that's pretty much just using a window frame and reinforced window bars. The only issue with this is the fact that you need the reinforced window bar BP, otherwise it's kind of useless and weak. I mean, you can use wooden window bars until you can get the BP, but that's kind of just relying on the fact that you will get the BP. Second way of going about it is here what I'm showing you now, and that's just using a normal door frame and a wall. And the only downside to this is it's just not as strong as the window bar technique. Also, one thing that's super important, whether you're using like the window frames or the door, is that the walls to the left of it are half walls. Reason for that is because we want to have shelving right here, and we can't really do that with normal walls, so make sure those are half walls. So for the shelvings, what you're going to do is you're going to place 4 boxes like so, and then you're going to place low walls on both the ceiling and the foundation. That way we can get those unlootable loot rooms. Make sure you get code locks on those boxes though, otherwise there's kind of no point of the unlootable loot rooms. Alright, so this next step is going to be breaking down that wood ceiling that I told you to leave as wood. Yeah, I know, it's going to be pretty dangerous if somebody hears you breaking down your wooden ceiling. They're probably going to be camping on your roof. But it's only going to take around 2 minutes, so shouldn't really be that long, and the chances of somebody walking by are pretty low. So get a few tools ready and play some music and just have fun with it. Once it's broken down though, you're going to place a box right here, right in front of the door that goes to your cupboard, and then you're going to open one of your doors and hop on top of the door to get to your second floor. Now right above your doorway, you're going to place a wall right here, upgrade that to stone, and to the left of that, you're going to place a wall frame, and make sure that's stone as well. Then, you can just go ahead and place the rest as stone walls. And once your second floor walls are up, you're going to place in your 45-degree roofs. And once you've done all the previous steps, your base should kind of look like a tower that's got a doorway on the second floor that goes to nothing, so yeah. For this next part, we're going to be working on more loot rooms. It's pretty simple, it's the same unlootable loot room design as the floor below, so I'm going to go ahead and skip through this. If you need the extra help, I'm going to put a slowed down version of this part in the description below, so be sure to watch that if you need extra help. Anyways, let's get going. Alright, once you're done with your interior, you're going to head outside and you're going to look for that gaping doorway that leads to nothing, and you're going to snap a square foundation to the lowest snap point, pretty much where that triangle foundation on the inside is on its lowest snap point as well. To the left and right, you're going to place a raised triangle, and you're going to place a square attached to both those triangles, and right on the lowered square, you're going to place a half wall right there, and go ahead and upgrade everything to stone. And once you're done, you're going to go to this outer edge over here, and on the other sides of the hexagon, you're going to place 3 triangles like so to fulfill your honeycomb. So 1, 2, and 3. And you're going to upgrade these to sheet metal. And once you're done with that, your foundations should pretty much be finished, looking just like that. Now just go ahead and place in your honeycomb and upgrade them to sheet metal. So we need to mark off where our entrance to the base is going to be, which is going to be this right side over here. And you're going to go ahead and place a door frame right there. upgrade that one to stone, and then for the rest, place walls and upgrade those to stone. Down in the lowered square foundation, you're going to place a furnace right here in the corner, and then on the opposite corner, you're going to place a furnace as well, right there. And then you're going to place 2 boxes corresponding to those furnaces, so one right there, and one right there, and then a triangle right above it. And then you can upgrade that triangle to whatever you want. I'm going to upgrade it to wood because it has no reason being metal. Right next to your entrance, you're going to place in another doorway, that way we can fulfill our airlock. And you're going to place a small planter like so. If you don't want to place a small planter, but instead you want to place some large boxes, it's all up to you. Now we're just going to continue airlocking this base. Now it's ceiling time, so go ahead and place in all your ceilings and upgrade them to stone. Once done, over here off to the left, you're going to place a 45-degree roof right there, and a wall to the left. One more wall to the left, and then another wall to the left, and upgrade those 2 to stone. And then ceilings right on top, upgrade them to stone. A double doorway right here. And then go ahead and place in all your appliances. Once done, we're going to place a single doorway right here, upgrade that to stone, and then you're going to place a sheet metal door right on top of that. And then on the outside, we're going to place 2 low walls right here and right over here, and upgrade those to stone. So the last thing we got to do is just set up this little square room down here by the first floor. And I'm not going to bother commentating over this because it's so simple. It's just, you know, a repair bench and a few boxes. So I'm just going to speed through this. So anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.